Hi, welcome to the Whiskey Chicks podcast. My name is Amy.
And I'm Amy's sister, Suzie.
We are going to be talking to you about Whiskey Chicks. You may ask yourself, what in the world is a Whiskey Chick? Well, it's a term our Nana, our grandmother, used to describe anything and everything, like a doodad or a thingamajig.
For our purposes today, Amy and I have framed Whiskey Chicks as those random moments in life that accumulate over time that compel us to grow, learn, and evolve. Whether it's good, bad, ugly, funny, or sad, with each Whiskey Chick comes a lesson, an aha moment, a lotus blooming from the mud and muck, resulting in wisdom and healing.
Whiskey Chicks have brought us both to a place in our lives where we love ourselves and speak our truths. The last thing Nana said to me before she passed on was, "Be true to yourself, little A." That was the nickname she had for me. The angel spoke straight through her in that moment, and I knew I had quite a journey ahead of me. It was that Whiskey Chick, the last Whiskey Chick she delivered, that set me off on an incredible growth journey. She is the force behind this creative endeavor. We dedicate every Whiskey Chick to her. We're grateful you're here.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Whiskey Chicks podcast. I'm Suzie.
And I'm Amy.
And yes, we have been gone for a while again, but that's what we do.
We've ghosted you, sorry.
No, we didn't ghost. We just couldn't pull it together to do an episode. We can blame me because I work in a grocery store and Thanksgiving happened and I need a lot of downtime. But anyway, here we are, episode 31.
Really?
31.
I'm so glad you keep count because I don't.
It's not hard, but I do it somehow. I manage it.
Do you use your fingers? Just kidding.
Yeah. I use the magic of the computer. It helps me. But anyway, so yeah, here we are today. And we had like several things we wanted to talk about, but we honed in on this specifically because of the holiday season. Even though what we're going to talk about, you can use all year round. And I don't really believe in New Year's resolutions because people tend to just not follow through with them. But
we did a podcast on that last year.
Did we? See, I forget. Well, how did I forget that? But you can choose any day to make changes in your life in the moment. You don't have to wait for specific times of the year. So why not start now? But anyway, around the holidays, people get triggered and
emotional.
A lot of memories come up, and you might be seeing friends, family, loved ones that you haven't seen in a while, and food gets involved, some possible drinking gets involved, and shit goes down. So anyway, today we're going to talk about responding versus reacting. Dun, 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 dun.
Do, do, do.
Oh. So before we dig in, because I came prepared.
Thank God.
I come prepared to class. Okay, so let's see here. Here we go. Okay, so I just want to talk for a second about the differences between reacting and responding. So reacting is an instinctive emotional response to a situation. It's often impulsive and can be influenced by our past experiences or fears. On the other hand, responding is a thoughtful and deliberate action. It involves considering the situation, weighing the options, and making a conscious decision. So I found this chart online that it says like react versus respond. And it just even reading these out loud, you can tell the difference as to what you should choose. So anyway, this falls under the reactive category. Impulsive, out of emotion and fear, short-sighted, immediate, irrational. Respond is intentional, out of love and respect, sees the bigger picture long-term, delayed, and self-control.
So in other words, don't spew. Sit back, take a deep breath. Think about what you're going to say first. What's that quote, that Buddha quote about before it leaves your lips or your mouth.
Yes. And you know what? I just said this to a coworker the other day. If you're listening out there, you said this very thing to me. You spat it right back out at me before you say something. Oh my God.
Before you,
Is it, sorry, is it necessary? Is it kind? Is it
it's
true?
true. Yeah. Mhm.
Sorry, my inner Buddha left for a second and then it came swoop back
what's
in.
my excuse? I couldn't remember any. I just knew Buddha said it.
Well, that was
Anyway.
half the battle.
Well, true.
Anyway.
It applies here for sure.
Yeah. But you know what? So with everything going on in the world right now, we won't just even mention the world knows what's going on in the untied states right now, post-election and going into the first of the 2025. But what we're talking about today, you can use in any situation, whether you're driving on the road or you're going through line at a grocery store or buying a coffee somewhere or running into someone you haven't seen in a while or having someone say something to you that you don't like it's all about free will and choice.
Mhm.
And you have the opportunity now to be someone in the world that doesn't feed all the reaction that's going on right now. So like a pebble thrown into still water, let's freaking do this the right way.
And what does a stone do when it hits the water? It creates energetic ripples.
It goes bloop.
It goes bloop. And then the rings go dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. But that's energy, right? And it's expansive. So if you can be that little stone and be a responder rather than a reactor, just think how that energy ripples out. Oh my God, I'm having a moment. Just think about.
Are you going to be all right? Oh my God, wait a minute. I'm
Wait.
I'm having a moment.
Because it really is energy. It's all energy. Think about the energy that you put out there when you respond rather than react, and the ripple effect it has. Because if you react, what's going to happen? The person you spewed at is going to react too. Whereas if you respond, there's nothing for that person to feed off of. The energy ripples out and they become a responder too, hopefully. But it is.
Carefully, you're dancing around the word communication here.
Well, it is. It's all a part. I mean, how are you going to communicate? Are you going to be a reactor or a responder? I mean, it's a choice, right? But it's a mindful choice. It's
right. You know what I thought about just now, though? When you throw that rock into still water and it goes bloop, and the ripples silently go out, like that's a response. But if you like chuck a rock to skip it, it's like you know, if you think of like that, like energetically.
Yeah,
that's one like
perfect
analogy you can think. Even though skipping rocks is super fun, but I mean, if you're talking about just like if that water is you like coming into an energy with your energy, how are you going to be the bloop with the soft, quiet ripples? You're going to be the with the crazy rock skip,
choppy, skippy,
spewing rock.
Are you going to spew your venom, or are you going to? Anyway.
But it's true. So, yeah. So what happens when someone comes up to you and let's say it's someone that maybe you have, let me try to be spiritual here, a challenged past with. Someone that like challenges you.
Triggers you.
Or triggers you. Or you think is going to trigger you. And, I guess avoidance is always an option, but sometimes you can't. Sometimes you can't avoid,
especially when you're sitting around the holiday dinner table.
Yeah, pass the mashed potatoes,
having a meal.
It's going to be your interaction, and the gravy. I'm just kidding.
Well, no, I mean everybody gets a little in there. Everybody's having their little bit of drink and whatever. Get emotional, and someone brings up something at the dinner table, and there we go. The emotions escalate. It can escalate so fast, and you might be in a situation where you're at the holiday dinner table, just as an example, just because it happens this time of year, and you get triggered. Somebody brings up something inadvertently, and it happens. It can be around relationships, politics, especially now with politics. It's like, do you respond or do you react? I don't know, because you're there. You can't necessarily walk away. I mean, you can, but you're in the middle of your holiday dinner with taters and rib roast and whatever you have, So anyway.
I mean, I used to be someone that would have to somehow self-medicate to get through. Okay, by self-medicate, I mean I smoked lots of weed. I've never really been a drinker, but drinks have flowed through our family dinners with holidays and whatnot. And I can tell you from someone who sits there completely sober, like sometimes it's the energetically, it's just like really strange to watch.
Yep. Because I don't drink either. So it's hard being sober to watch the change, and the shift and yeah.
The shift.
Because shift happens.
The shift can lead to shit happening. That's true too. But, so anyway, responding to something requires you to, let's say someone says something to you and your immediate thing that you want to give back is like, well, F off or screw you or bleh. That's reacting, right? Mm-hmm. Responding would be receiving that. And I want to also remind you, if you react to someone that has said something to you that triggers that reaction, not only are you, I don't know how to say this politely, stooping to their energetic level, but you're degrading yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you are better and bigger than that. And, we're not here to suffer. We're here to evolve and to be comfortable and confident in the souls that we are. And so I take every interaction with someone, whether it be a family member, a coworker, just a random person that I'm in an elevator with or something that may say something or do something, sometimes saying nothing is the biggest response you can give someone. Like, I just don't want to play at all. And that there is no bigger definition of you standing in your truth is like, I don't even need to do anything. I'm good. So we always feel like we have to defend or say, I'm sorry. And, it's like, I catch myself doing that a lot, saying I'm sorry for stuff.
Yeah, we did a podcast on that too.
I'm sorry. I know you're remembering all the podcasts.
Yeah, you count and I just remember the subjects.
I feel like yours is more important. Don't want to be too redundant here, but
no, but it literally is lower self versus higher self. Do you want to come from the lower self or do you want to come from the higher self? And, it's, it takes practice and effort to come from that higher self. And think about what no response is to someone who's trying to trigger you or someone who is triggering you or is trying to get a reaction out of you. Think about what that does to them. It's almost worse. They can't, there's nothing for them to feed off of. And it speaks volumes. Your silence just speaks volumes. And that person's got nowhere to go with what they tried to say to you or what they tried to provoke. It's got absolutely nowhere to go. And that just speaks volumes for them. I would think that this, just being silent is even more frustrating for that person. They want a reaction out of you. That's the reason they're doing it. They want to rile you up. They want to bring you to their level. And if you don't do that, that just speaks volumes to them. So silence sometimes is just the best thing ever. It just says way more than words ever could.
I've been doing more of that.
Me too.
It's hard because I'm loud, but
but at some, and at this age, it's like I've gotten so good at like, is this really worth my energy? because I only have so much to spend. I only have so much in my energetic bank account, and do I really want to spend it on this? Is it, what's it going to do for me? What am I going to get out of it? Nothing. I will have spent some of that energy from my account and I'm not getting it back, so why bother? It's just walk away if you can.
I also find it nice to respond to people without feeling the need to like over explain.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they ask, this happens to me all day at work because I somehow feel like it's my responsibility to like kind of educate people on why I'm giving them the answer I'm giving them. And what I've learned recently is like, they don't give a shit about that. They just hear no and they're like, eh. So, and some people I'll just be like, would you like to know the reasons why? And they're like, no. I'm like, great. Have a nice day. Again, millionth time, I work in a produce department in a fancy kind of grocery store. And I had this older gentleman come up to me a couple weeks ago and he had a package of organic blueberries. And he's like, can I ask your opinion on something? I'm like, of course. And he's like, should I trust that these are organic? And I'm like, sir, I wouldn't trust anything on labels anymore. And that's the truth. I mean, it's, I'm not going to tell him something that probably may or may not be true, but I mean, it's probably true, but with conditions, because you slap a label on something and everybody's like, oh, it's organic, I'm buying it. But you need to learn what organic means. But anyway, I told the guy the truth, or, someone's like, do you have plums? It's like, I'm in my mind, I'm like, it's December. Why would we have plums in December?
We're not in California.
So I'll just say, no, they're not in season. Well, do you know when you're going to be getting them? Like July. So I'm just like, I just keep spitting out like little truths and stuff. But me, like even 2 months ago, I'd be like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I would say like, I'm sorry. I'm like, why am I sorry? I'm not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. But anyway, yeah. But people tend to react if they don't get the answer they want. And that is also another trigger point for you to be aware of. And again, like, don't play into it.
But I love that. Don't over explain. I think the vast majority of my life, I've done a lot of that. It wasn't until recent years where I've recognized that and like, why do I do that? And it comes from a deeper wound and a deeper need of needing to feel validated and heard, and got to over explain so nobody disapproves of me, kind of a thing.
Well, now you're I know where you're going with this. You're going around the domestication.
Exactly. It all comes full circle because that's where it comes from. And when we are triggered or reacting, sometimes maybe we don't spew, but we go to a place where we feel like we have to answer and we have to explain ourselves. And then we end up over explaining ourselves. And it's just really, it's really not necessary. It's very draining. And, think about where that's coming from, and I think I spent, I think I've been guilty of the verbal fruit salad. I don't know how many times in my life, where you're just like tossing it all out there and giving it all up, so, whether it be with work, in relationships, and I'm a talker, I'm a gabber, I'm an educator, I'm a natural talker anyway, but I've in recent years really recognized that sometimes saying nothing is the absolute best thing of all. And I don't need to explain myself unless I'm asked to. Like Suzie said, if it's solicited, great. If not, don't spend the energy. Just don't, because what are you going to get out of it? And where is it actually coming from? It's coming from a place of, well, I need to be heard and I need to be validated. But where does that come from? So it's like, no, Anyway.
No.
No.
No. So now that we've touched a little bit on both responding and reacting, I found this other little blip here of 5 things you can do to respond instead of react.
Oh, cool.
So learn to make a conscious choice to respond, not to react. Number 1, name your emotions. Verbalize them out loud or write them in a journal. I think that being in touch with the emotion in the moment, I think, is the core foundation of the response. Because your emotions are so powerful. And they say like, oh, you need to align your head, your heart, and your gut. But if your heart, it's right in the middle of those 2 places. If your heart is charged, it's going to blow those other 2 areas out of the water. And you're not going to say anything instinctively that makes sense. You're just going to be like rattling off emotions. So anyway, name your emotions, like identify the emotion that is behind what you're feeling after what's been said to you. Number 2, recognize how your body feels. Pay attention to any physical symptoms you're having. Do you feel flushed? Do you feel like this fit of rage overcoming you? Do you feel like crying? Do you want to punch a wall? Like that type of thing. Like, that's a physical symptom. Some nausea could be a physical symptom, So, all right.
So this is like the Disney movie Inside Out. This is kind of exactly what is it Pixar or Disney? Well, Pixar's a part of Disney, but I think the Pixar studios did it. But it literally is, all the characters are the different emotions. There's anxiety and joy, and they're all different characters, and they live in, I haven't seen it, but they're a part of, I think it's a little girl and how she deals with her emotions. But it's so funny. I've seen, the characters and whatever. It's so funny to see them like act out, like anxiety acts like anxiety, and she looks like anxiety. And it just, anyway, it just made me think of course, a Disney movie. But anyway.
Can I go on?
Yeah, you can. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
All right. Number 3, use your breath to regain control.
Mm-hmm.
Check yourself. Take a deep breath. Get some oxygen in your brain. Just sit with it for a minute and breathe.
Pranayama.
4, just choked on my own spit. That's not, yeah. Just kidding. Ask yourself why the reaction would come out. Like, why am I wanting to react this way? And then 5, which is something we should be doing all day, every day, no matter what we're doing, is practice mindfulness regularly. Ground yourself. Be still with yourself. Give yourself a little hug. So really, all of this comes down to reacting, I feel like, comes from people that, I don't want to say have a lot of work to do on themselves, but maybe need to focus on where their soul is at, or maybe they need to be more in touch with their soul, or I don't know how else to put that. I mean, because I spent probably a good 40 to 45 years of my 52 years of life being really freaking angry. Like, angry. Like Nancy Kerrigan. Why? Like, and if you don't know what that means, I'm not going to explain to you. Yeah, look it up.
Tanya, what's her name? Tanya
Harding. Look up Nancy Kerrigan getting her knee bashed where she's sitting there going, why?
She was hobbled by Tanya Harding.
It was actually really horrific, and Tanya Harding. Yeah, anyway. But, and that comes from me personally, that comes from my domestication, and it can be a lot of work, people, to like get through this, but I promise you, with everything in me, once you get to that place within yourself of standing in your truth, loving yourself, and being mindful, the reactions might come now and then, but they don't flow like they used to.
No,
you
and you
know?
find yourself habitually, if something comes up, if you can consciously go, okay, what is this? And where is it coming from? That alone helps you grow and change so much and understand yourself. And you'll find that you are just, all of a sudden, you are just like digging deep and healing some shit that needed to heal, you know? If you can just stop yourself, and like, what is this? Where is it coming from? I don't know how many times I've done that in the last few years, and it has helped so much, so much. And you will get to know yourself.
Which is why we're here. Getting to know you, getting to know all about you.
Suzie can sing. I can't.
I can't sing right now, but
well, that was way better than what I could do.
well, I was just thinking, imagine there really is no difference, right, between stubbing your toe and seeing someone that you want to have no interaction with. So imagine like you whacked your toe and you're like, shit! And you see the person, you're like, shit! And then like you're like, I don't want to, why? And then the same thing with the person. So
but if you stub your toe, you crumple to the ground. If you see the person, at least you can run.
unless you stub your toe prior to that, then you might have a slight limp. I'm just kidding. But even if you stub your toe, and it's like in the cartoon where they're in a place they have to be quiet, and like someone hits the foot with a sledgehammer, they're like turning purple trying to keep it in. That's not what I mean. I mean, like, you know, the other day at work, I lifted up a 30-pound case of carrots and it fumbled in my hands. And where it fell, it pinched one of my fingers between a metal rack and the box. Like,
ouch.
Wham! Right on my nail.
Ouch.
And I was like, okay. Instead of being like, mother trucker, I was just like, oh, well, isn't that special? And I'm like rubbing the nail. I'm like, you're okay. That's literally what I was doing. Where me like 2 years ago, I would have been like, they would have come running. So they were like, what's going on in there? My finger! Anyway, I didn't react. I responded to my injury. And you know what? My finger was fine. I was afraid I was going to have the purple nail, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, some pretty simple. That's a good example because there's some pretty simple ways you can practice this. Like, you know, when was it? The other day I was wearing white and I was making my smoothie and I sklucked avocado.
You wore white after Labor Day? I'm just kidding.
Yes, I do. It is not the fashion faux pas you think it is. But I like splattered avocado goo all over the front of my shirt. And I sat there and I looked down at my shirt and I looked at I was getting ready to get on a Zoom meeting and I just laughed and I'm like, well, that was cool. You know, geez, Amy, I just kind of shook my head and smiled and like, okay, off it comes, change your clothes, throw it in the wash, you know, whereas if you were feeling stressed out or aggravated or, you know, it would have been, God, you know, as opposed to, you know, it is what it is. I'm a klutz. Okay. Hopefully it'll come out. Go deal with it. You know, it's last minute, but oh well. You know, just little things like that. Practicing like stubbing the toe. And even though it's painful, you know, just kind of recognize it for what it is. Spilling coffee grounds on the ground. I've done that before too recently on my clean floor.
But sometimes the stubbing of the toe or the dropping of the coffee grounds or the sklucking of the avocado can trigger other things that are going on. Like, all this is going on, and now this, you know, why?
Oh my God, exactly.
Why?
Back to Nancy Kerrigan. No, but you read my mind. I was just thinking that. I was like, you know, there might be other shit going on. And it's that one little thing. It's like the proverbial straw that breaks the camel's back. And then it all fucking who freaking comes out.
It's okay. I
almost
always
threw an
click on
F-bomb.
explicit language, so don't worry. Let your F-bombs fly. And happy holidays.
Whereas I mean, it's just like that one thing, and and all of a sudden you're blaming the coffee grounds, and you're blaming the avocado, and you're blaming everything. You're blaming everything, you know. So, but yeah, it's so true. Like that could be a trigger to so react. Oh my God, that's
well.
funny.
Not to mention, I mean, I think we've discussed before that the universe is going to keep poking at you until you wake up and smell the spilled coffee grounds. You know, and get over it. I mean, if a stubbed toe or spilled coffee grounds or sklucked avocado are the worst things in your life, you're doing okay.
Yeah, be grateful.
You know, there's no use crying over spilled coffee grounds.
Or mushy avocado down a white shirt.
It's kind of funny when you think about it, like when they fall. It's like
they're such a pain in the butt to clean up too. Oh my God. But anyway, thank God for vinyl flooring. Easy to mop up.
But anyway, as we approach the nearing of the homework giving.
Oh my goodness, yes.
I know. See how easy it is to
I already kind of
stuff?
slipped the homework out there.
You did?
Yeah, about 5 minutes ago I kind of mentioned it.
A few 5 minutes?
Yeah, so I'm going to say it again. As I was talking about, I'm like, this would be great homework.
Are you going to reshare? Because I don't know what you're talking about.
Wait, I forgot.
Oh my God. Wait, let me respond and not react to that. I know. Come on, you can do it.
Okay, Mercury's retrograde right now, and the brain farting is real.
Don't lean on Mercury.
I will.
Don't do it.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, I can't even freaking remember what I said 5 minutes ago. It's gonna be okay.
That's okay. I'll make something else up.
I'll bet in the middle of you saying this, you're gonna remember. Crickets on the air. Just kidding.
Oh my God. I literally said it 5 minutes ago, and I'm like, this would be great homework. And now I can't remember what I said.
Maybe it wasn't meant for you to give us homework.
Maybe it wasn't.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't. But I think a good practice, regardless of what I was thinking 5 minutes ago, 6 minutes now. I think just to have mindfulness around the next time you want to react to something, stop yourself and just think about either staying silent or the concept of responding. Just process, allow yourself to take a deep breath, process a moment, and then decide how you're going to choose your words, essentially. And it could be at a grocery store, it could be at a holiday dinner, it could be anything. But just the next time you find yourself wanting to just spew, take a deep breath and stop. Challenge yourself to stop and think. What's the Buddha quote again?
Is it kind? Is it necessary? Is it true?
That's it.
Buddha's like responding to you.
I know.
Right now.
He's sitting over in the corner of my apartment here looking at me like, dude.
Buddha's like, girl, what's the matter with you?
I know. Get it together.
You said it 3 times already. You know what? Just before we go, I wanted to point out something. I meant to mention this. Like, you know, when you encounter like a baby, like a little baby, I think it's before it's kind of walking. You know, they don't know any better, right? Like either the kid does not lie, right?
Mm-mm.
Like if you're the baby, like if it's hungry, it cries. If it needs changing, it cries. You know, it communicates very clearly. And so if you like look at a baby and you smile and it starts crying, that's like truth right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
That baby doesn't know right or wrong that way. It's just gauging your energy. Animals are the same way.
Yep.
Animals are the same way. And so the reason I'm saying this is sometimes if you can imagine what you look like when you're reacting to someone negatively, fearfully, angrily, hatefully, imagine how ridiculous you look and that you probably don't even look like yourself. And many moons ago, when I had a partner, she had a niece, and we were potty training her, and I would watch her in the afternoons. And she went through this phase where she kept hitting people. And I was told to put her in a timeout whenever she did that. And so one time, it was just a bad day for her. And she hit me, and I put her in the timeout. She was wailing and wailing and wailing. And I wasn't supposed to go to her until she stopped crying. But it was going on for like 15 minutes. And I mean, she was just wearing herself out. And so I came up to her and I knelt down and I said, "Do you know why you're here?" And she's like, "Yeah, no hitting people." Right. But she's still like crying. And so I picked her up. So like her back was to me, and she was kicking and screaming, and I held her in front of the mirror and I went, "Look how silly you look." And she's like, "Wah!" Then she started cracking up, and she never hit anyone ever again. I don't know. I just think that's a really good story, because it's like, if you imagine what you look like to someone else while you're reacting and not responding, just remember, like, that's what you're giving out to the universe, and that's all you're going to get back.
I was just going to say that. Whatever you give, you get back.
Just remind yourself that, like, if someone's angry with you and you're angry back, that's all you're going to get back. If there's fear, if there's hate, if there's revenge or anything like that, like, if someone does you wrong, doing revenge on them really isn't the best course, because that will get done back to you.
Mm-mm.
So anyway, I meant to tell that story in the middle of the podcast, and I just couldn't find a place to put it in. But because sometimes I find myself looking at myself in the mirror being like, "Man, you're cool. Like, be this person. I like you. I love you. You're good."
Yep. No, I think that's a great way to end.
Don't be the fool.
Look in the mirror. When in doubt, look in the mirror.
Yeah. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the most responsive of them all?
I was waiting for something like that, and I was trying to think of something witty, but you beat me to it.
So says the Aries versus the Virgo. Just kidding. Anyway, well, let's end it there.
Yep.
For today. We've gone over the limit, and that's my fault.
That's okay. We haven't recorded in weeks. So
I know y'all are just crying out there. P.S. Shout out to Norway for joining the Whiskey Chicks podcast.
That's right.
We got listeners in Norway. Pretty freaking exciting. Anyway.
We have to give you an extra 6 minutes in case we don't record again until after Christmas.
I think we'll record again.
We will. We need to. We need to.
We need to make time.
We apologize.
No, we don't.
That's true.
You don't apologize for that. Listen, they get what they get when they can get it when we give it.
Our hope is that you're on pins and needles waiting for the next one. But it also gives you a chance to catch up on all the episodes. So now, hopefully everybody's caught up and you're just waiting for the next one.
That's
You're not overwhelmed. You're just like, cool, the next one will come out and I'll be able to listen to it. No problem. Right.
Tell all your friends and loved ones about the Whiskey Chicks podcast, because we would love that. Anyway, so we're going to end it here, and I'm sure we'll be in touch before Christmas or New Year's. So
we will.
Anyway, just remember, folks, respond, don't react.
Yep.
Take that breath, sit with it. Just do yourself and your soul a favor. Until next time, we know what old Nana would say.
Be true to yourself.